The sun was warm but not harsh, casting a soft glow over the quiet suburban playground. It was early enough in the day that most families hadn't arrived yet, leaving the swings swaying gently in the breeze and the sandbox untouched. A pair of small sneakers paused at the edge of the mulch path, their wearer frozen in place, clutching a plush rabbit with ears worn thin from constant handling. Next to her stood a woman, tall, polished, composed, with sleek hair pulled into a low chignon and sunglasses that masked the tiredness etched into her face. Her heels sank slightly into the soft earth as she stood still, scanning the area as if unsure what to do next. Olivia Thorne had walked into boardrooms and closed billion-dollar deals with less hesitation than she felt standing at the entrance of this playground. Her daughter Ava hadn't spoken in nearly 3 years, not a word, not a hum. Therapists had tried to coax it out. Olivia had thrown money, resources, time, everything short of a miracle, at the silence. Nothing worked. "Do you want to go down the slide, sweetheart?" she asked, crouching slightly to meet Ava's eyes. "You used to like the slide." Ava's gaze drifted to the equipment, but she said nothing. Just squeezed her rabbit tighter. Olivia straightened slowly, her eyes scanning again. The swing set creaked. The slide shimmered slightly in the sun. She took a slow breath and guided Ava toward a bench near the sandbox. There was no one else around yet, maybe that was good. Less pressure. Less staring. She sat stiffly on the edge of the bench, crossing one leg over the other. Her phone buzzed in her purse. She ignored it. This moment, this outing, had to matter. It had to do something. A full morning blocked out of her schedule, a stylistically casual outfit that still screamed expensive. This wasn't just playtime. It was another attempt. Another try to reach her daughter. Minutes passed. Ava wandered a few feet away, inspecting a pile of pebbles with serious intent. Her rabbit dangled in one hand, its body nearly dragging on the ground. Then Olivia heard it, a deep laugh, warm and full, from behind a tree to the left. A man emerged pushing a small scooter, his son trailing behind him. The boy was maybe 6, with untamed curls and a toothy grin. The man looked like he just rolled out of a lazy Saturday, hoodie, jeans, beard slightly unkempt. He had a presence though. Grounded. Easy. The kind of man who wasn't trying to be seen, but somehow made you look anyway. They moved to the sandbox. The father pulled out a small plastic bucket from a bag, then another. The boy dove in with energy, already scooping up sand and letting it fall dramatically between his fingers. Olivia glanced briefly, then looked away. Not her business. But then the man spoke. "Hey there," he said, his voice carrying just enough to be friendly but not invasive. "You two okay?" Olivia looked up. He wasn't smiling with pity or curiosity. Just openness. "Yes," she replied. "We're fine." He nodded and turned back to help his son press a small mold into the sand. "First time at this playground?" he asked over his shoulder. She hesitated. "Yes. We live a few blocks over. Well, it's quiet in the mornings. Good for easing into things. I'm Marcus, by the way. That little sandstorm is Elijah." She offered a polite nod. "Olivia. And this is Ava." Ava didn't respond. She was standing a few feet away now, watching the sand trickle through Elijah's fingers. Marcus didn't push further. "Nice to meet you." He returned to the task at hand, digging, scooping, laughing as Elijah made a mess. Olivia expected the boy to be noisy, boisterous. But he wasn't. He was cheerful but not wild. He kept glancing at Ava, flashing her grins that went unanswered. Minutes passed. Ava moved closer. One tiny step at a time, she drifted toward the sandbox's edge, then crouched beside it. Not inside. Just watching. Her eyes tracked Elijah's every move with quiet fascination. Marcus noticed, but said nothing. Instead, he shifted slightly to the side, clearing more room. He nudged a clean red shovel in Ava's direction, wordlessly. No pressure. No expectation. Just an offering. Ava stared at it. Olivia's heart pounded. She hadn't seen this kind of interest from her daughter in a long time. Usually, Ava kept close to her side, guarded, eyes distant. But now, her fingers twitched. Her grip loosened on the rabbit. Then, slowly, almost imperceptibly, Ava reached forward and took the shovel. Olivia couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. She sat on the bench like a statue, eyes locked on the scene unfolding before her. Ava didn't say a word. But she began scooping sand, copying Elijah's motions. Not playing with him, exactly. More like beside him. Parallel. But still, engaging star. Elijah beamed. That's a good one, he said, pointing to the lopsided mound she was making. It's like a baby volcano. Ava blinked. Marcus chuckled. Better build a moat before it erupts. Ava's lips curved slightly. Just a twitch. A hint of a smile. And then she scooped more sand. Olivia had to grip the bench to stop herself from rushing over. From interfering. She felt like she was watching a miracle in motion, too fragile to touch, too sacred to break. Elijah nudged another mold closer. Want to try the crab one? Ava didn't answer. But her hands moved. She took the mold. Carefully filled it. Marcus gave Olivia a quiet glance. She met his eyes. There was understanding there, no judgment. No assumptions. Just awareness. More time passed. Maybe 15 minutes. Maybe 30. And Ava didn't retreat. She kept building. Silently. Purposefully. Her rabbit was forgotten beside her. Her eyes brightened every time Elijah praised her pile. Marcus never directed anything toward her, he just created a space. Safe. Unpressured. Olivia felt tears sting the back of her eyes. She blinked hard. This was different. This wasn't therapy rooms and questions. This wasn't white coats and reports. This was just play. And her daughter, her mute daughter, was in the middle of it. Alive in it. Present in it. A vibration in her purse reminded Olivia of the real world. Her phone. Work. Investors. Clients. She turned it off. And for the first time in a very long while, she just watched. Ava stayed near the edge of the sandbox, her fingers coated in sand, her concentration deep. Every now and then, she glanced at Elijah, mimicking his motions like a silent shadow. Elijah didn't seem to mind. He talked freely, about building a fortress to keep the crab mold safe, about how sand shouldn't be too dry or too wet, and about a cartoon character named Captain Toast who apparently loved volcanoes. Ava listened closely. Her silence wasn't detached, it was observant, curious. Something was shifting. Olivia sat a few feet away, hands clasped tight in her lap. She hadn't spoken in minutes. She didn't want to break the spell. Even blinking felt risky. She kept stealing glances at Marcus, who hadn't said a word to Ava since the initial shovel offering. He let Elijah do all the talking. His hands were busy in the sand, but his eyes scanned gently, always alert, never intrusive. Then Olivia saw her. A sharp click of heels on the pathway behind her. She didn't need to turn her head. She recognized the rhythm instantly. Vanessa. And she wasn't alone. 2 other women walked beside her, both of them carrying iced coffees and designer totes, dressed in matching pastel athleisure like it was a uniform. Vanessa led them like a parade float, smiling, nodding, scanning the playground like she owned it. Oh wow, Vanessa said, voice dripping with fake surprise. Olivia? You brought Ava out here? Olivia stood slowly. Yes, we decided to try something new. Vanessa tilted her head just slightly. That's brave. I thought you had people for this sort of thing. The other 2 women offered small, polite chuckles. Olivia smiled tightly. We needed time together. Vanessa's eyes flicked to the sandbox. Is she still not talking? She's making progress. Vanessa murmured. It's just so hard, isn't it? When they don't hit those milestones. My little Cece started reading at 4. She practically narrates her dreams now. Olivia's jaw tensed. Every child has their own pace. Vanessa nodded with exaggerated empathy. Of course. Of course. Still, must be exhausting. All the silence. The words cut sharper than Olivia expected. Not because of what they said, but because of the truth in them. The silence was exhausting. The years of trying, guessing, aching. Of watching her daughter shrink into herself while the world moved too fast. Vanessa turned her gaze toward Marcus now, squinting like she just noticed a fly on her salad. And who's that? She asked, lowering her voice just enough to be insulting. Marcus, Olivia said flatly. He's here with his son. Vanessa gave a short, unimpressed nod. Interesting. Well, I guess it's good for Ava to see some variety. Olivia stepped forward before she realized she was doing it. Her voice lowered. What do you mean by that? Vanessa blinked. Oh, don't be sensitive. I just meant different energy, different backgrounds. Sometimes it's useful. Marcus didn't look up. But he heard it. Olivia saw the small pause in his motion, the faint stillness in his shoulders before he resumed patting sand into a mound. Ava, unaware, picked up a new mold, this one shaped like a turtle. Elijah clapped. That one's my favorite. She hesitated, then pressed it into the sand. The imprint was crooked. Elijah beamed anyway. Looks awesome. Marcus finally stood, brushing his palms clean. He walked over to Olivia, his posture calm, his tone even. I think Elijah's getting hungry. We brought some snacks if Ava wants to share. Olivia looked up at him, grateful. That would be nice. Vanessa arched a brow. You're offering food now? Marcus looked at her, not smiling. Kids usually like to eat when they've been outside. Especially when they're comfortable. Vanessa opened her mouth, but he'd already turned back. From her bag, Olivia pulled out a pack of crackers and juice box she always kept just in case. Ava wandered toward them slowly, eyes darting between Olivia and Elijah. She accepted the juice without speaking but sat down beside Elijah without hesitation. He offered her half a banana. She took it. It was small, but it felt monumental. Vanessa's voice returned, tight, irritated. Anyway, we should let you two settle in. Olivia, text me if you ever want a recommendation for real help. I know a therapist in Switzerland who... I don't need that, Olivia said. Vanessa gave a short, fake laugh. Of course. She turned to leave, the other women trailing her like shadows. Olivia didn't watch them go. She was already kneeling beside her daughter, gently adjusting the straw in the juice box. You okay? She whispered. Ava nodded once. Then reached for another cracker. Elijah plopped down beside them, talking animatedly about how his dad let him make pancakes on Saturdays. You really let him use the stove? Olivia asked Marcus as he sat nearby. With supervision. Burned one once, cried for 10 minutes, then tried again. You let him fail? I let him learn. She looked at him carefully. Most people don't. Most people don't slow down long enough. Their eyes met. Something passed between them, an understanding that didn't need words. Ava leaned her head slightly against Olivia's side. It was the first time in 2 years she'd done that. The sun was higher now, the playground growing louder as more families arrived. But in this small corner, between juice boxes and broken sandcastles, something powerful had happened. No one clapped. No music played. But Olivia felt it in her bones. This wasn't therapy. It wasn't strategy. It wasn't part of any plan. It was just presence. And for the first time in what felt like forever, that was enough. Ava sat cross-legged in the sand now, no longer just observing but actively molding and shaping alongside Elijah. Her small hands were careful, deliberate, each scoop of sand smoothed out as though it were glass. Elijah chattered nonstop, about robots, superhero dogs, and how he thought the sun could be touched if you were fast enough. And Ava, for the first time in years, didn't retreat from the noise. She didn't recoil from his voice or turn away. She was listening. She was present. And then, so subtly Olivia nearly missed it, Ava smiled. It was soft, not showy. The kind of smile you only caught if you were truly watching her, the way a mother watches a sleeping child breathe. Olivia froze. Her chest tightened. That smile used to be a regular part of Ava's face, before the silence, before her world fell apart, before Olivia buried herself in board meetings and deadlines because she didn't know how to be anything but strong. She blinked back the sting in her eyes and stood slowly, walking over to where Marcus sat with one knee up, lazily tossing pebbles toward a tree trunk like a casual game. "You saw that, right?" Olivia whispered, her voice caught halfway between a breath and a prayer. He didn't answer right away. Just glanced at her with something close to knowing. "She's coming up for air," he said gently. "It's like when kids have been underwater too long, they don't speak at first. They surface. Then they learn to breathe again." She sank down onto the bench beside him. "Do you have a background in psychology?" Marcus chuckled. "Nah. Just 10 years of parenting and messing up 100 times. She looked at him sideways. "You make it look easy. It's not. It's just honest. I can't give Elijah everything, but I can give him my time. My presence." Olivia's eyes stayed on her daughter. "That's the one thing I never had enough of." Marcus was quiet for a moment. "It's never too late." And then it happened. Ava let out a giggle. Not a whisper or a breathy sigh. A clear, sweet, unmistakable giggle that rang like wind chimes in the open air. Olivia's heart stopped. Elijah had just placed the bucket upside down on his head, declaring himself King Elijah of Crablantis, and stumbled around the sandbox shouting nonsense about crab armies and magical shells. Ava clutched her sides, giggling again, louder this time. Then she spoke. Just one word. "Funny." It was so quiet Olivia thought she imagined it. But Marcus's head turned sharply, and Elijah froze mid-crab impersonation. "What did you say?" Elijah asked, blinking. Ava ducked her head, suddenly shy, but the word had already escaped her lips. Her voice, small, raspy from years of disuse, was real. Olivia stood slowly, as if afraid that moving too fast would undo it all. "Ava," she said, her own voice trembling. Did you say something?" Ava looked up at her mother, lips parted. Then she nodded. And spoke again. "He's funny." Olivia felt her knees weaken. Her hands flew to her mouth, trying to contain a sob. She dropped into the sand beside her daughter, not caring that her linen pants would be ruined, not caring that she was crying in public. Ava reached out and touched her mother's hand. "It's okay, Mommy." Mommy. She hadn't called her that in years. Olivia was always Mama, before the silence, before her husband's accident, before everything collapsed under grief and shock and therapy sessions that never led anywhere. She felt her heart crack open. "I'm here," Olivia whispered. "I've always been here." Ava looked at her for a long moment. "I know." The words were simple. But they carried the weight of everything unspoken. Behind them, Marcus turned to give them space. Elijah was watching too, a little confused, but sensing something important had happened. He leaned close to his dad and whispered, "She talks now?" Marcus smiled softly. "Looks like she remembered how." Olivia pulled Ava into her arms, holding her tightly, her face buried in the scent of sunscreen and sand and hope. She didn't care who saw. Didn't care about the texts piling up on her phone. Nothing else mattered. After a while, Marcus approached quietly. "You good?" Olivia looked up, her eyes still wet. "Better than I've been in years." He nodded. "She just needed someone to see her, not fix her. I didn't know how. Most people don't. But now you do." Olivia stood, brushing sand from her knees, still holding Ava's hand. "What do I do now?" "Keep showing up," Marcus said simply. She already did the hard part. They spent another hour at the playground. No therapists. No pressure. Just sun and sand and a child who had finally found her voice again. And Olivia, CEO, strategist, planner, finally let herself feel the moment without controlling it. As they packed up to leave, Ava turned to Elijah and whispered, "Bye, King of Criblantis." Elijah beamed. Marcus extended a hand to Olivia. "Same time tomorrow?" She looked at him for a moment, then shook his hand. "Tomorrow. And the next day?" Ava tugged at her sleeve. "Can Mr. Flopsy come too?" Olivia laughed, a genuine, warm laugh that surprised even her. "Of course he can, sweetheart. Of course." The next morning, Olivia stood in front of the mirror, staring at her reflection longer than usual. Her usual routine had been automatic: power suit, sleek ponytail, matte lipstick, and a face that told the world she meant business. But today, she reached for something different. A soft blouse. A pair of jeans she hadn't worn in years. Her hair loose around her shoulders. For the first time in a long time, she wasn't dressing to conquer anyone. She was dressing to show up, as herself. As a mother. In the living room, Ava sat on the carpet, humming softly. Her plush rabbit rested on her lap, and she was tracing its ears with her fingers, whispering a little story to herself. Olivia paused at the doorway, watching. Her heart ached, in the best way. That tiny voice, barely above a whisper, was like music she hadn't heard in years. "Ready, sweetheart?" she asked gently. Ava looked up and nodded. "Can I bring snacks today? For Elijah?" Olivia smiled. "Of course you can." They walked hand in hand down the tree-lined sidewalk, the morning air crisp with promise. It felt different. Lighter. Olivia hadn't realized how much of her life had been weighted by silence, guilt, and the invisible wall that had grown between them. And now, piece by piece, that wall was crumbling. The playground was already alive when they arrived. Children screamed happily across monkey bars and darted between slides. But Elijah and Marcus were there in the sandbox, exactly where they'd left them the day before. "Hey, Ava!" Elijah waved both hands like he was flagging down an airplane. "We saved your spot." Ava giggled and tugged on Olivia's hand, pulling her forward. Marcus stood and gave Olivia a small nod. "Hey there." "Hi," she said, unable to hide her smile. "She packed snacks?" Marcus chuckled. "He's going to love that." Ava knelt in the sand beside Elijah, unzipping her small pink backpack and pulling out a little container of sliced apples and some cheddar crackers. "They're shaped like stars," she said shyly. Elijah's eyes widened. "Best snack ever." Marcus leaned slightly closer to Olivia. "She's glowing today." "She is," Olivia said softly. "And so am I." They sat on the bench again, both watching the two kids build what looked like a sand city. Towers, bridges, even a moat. Ava was explaining something about the rabbit being the mayor. Olivia turned to Marcus. "I still can't wrap my head around it." She hadn't said a word in years. And now, she won't stop talking about crab kings and bunny governments. Marcus smiled. "Sometimes it takes just one crack in the dam." Olivia sighed. "I spent so long thinking I had to solve her. Like she was a problem to fix. But she didn't need a solution. She needed space. Safety. She needed to play. She needed to be seen," Marcus said. "Not watched. Not diagnosed. Just seen." Olivia was quiet for a long moment. "You gave her something I couldn't." "I didn't give her anything," he said. "She just saw someone who wasn't expecting anything from her. That's what I mean." They sat in the comfortable silence of two people who didn't need to fill space with words. The breeze shifted through the trees, and the laughter of children drifted through the air like music. Elijah and Ava were now building a sand airport, and the rabbit was being checked through security. Olivia glanced at Marcus. "You're raising him alone?" "Yeah. His mom passed when he was a baby." "I'm so sorry." Marcus nodded. "Thank you. It's been a journey. But he keeps me grounded." "He's incredible," Olivia said. "Kind. Patient. Funny." Marcus grinned. "Gets it from me." She laughed. It was genuine, light, and unfiltered. "Clearly." Ava came running over with a crooked sand dollar in her hand. We found treasure! Marcus leaned down. Well, now we have to protect it. Pirate raccoons are everywhere this time of year. Ava gasped dramatically. I'll build a wall! She ran back with purpose. Olivia wiped a tear that threatened to fall. Not from sadness. From joy. From relief. From something that had no single name. I've been so focused on being strong, she said softly. All these years. For Ava. For the company. For everyone. But I forgot how to just feel. You're allowed to feel, Marcus said. Even CEOs get to be human. She looked at him and smiled. You're full of wisdom. He shrugged. Just a dad trying to survive. Ava called out from the sandbox. Mommy! Come help us! You can be the airport lady! Olivia stood, surprised. She looked at Marcus. Better go, he said with a grin. Big promotion. She joined the kids, kneeling beside Ava. For the next hour, Olivia forgot about meetings, quarterly projections, and image. She helped skin stuffed animals through security. She built a runway out of twigs. She laughed when Elijah declared a squirrel was hijacking their plane. And every time Ava called her Mommy, Olivia felt a piece of her heart knit back together. Later, as they packed up, Olivia turned to Marcus. I don't know how to thank you. You don't need to. No, she said. I really do. You didn't just help my daughter. You helped me remember how to be her mother. He looked at her, something soft and unreadable in his eyes. Then we're even. Because watching you reminded me that not all broken things stay broken. They exchanged numbers, not awkwardly, but naturally. Like two people who knew this wouldn't be their last morning together. As Olivia walked home with Ava's hand in hers, she felt lighter. Whole. Mommy? Yes, sweetheart? Can we come back tomorrow? She smiled down at her daughter, the little girl who'd once been silent, now full of voice and stories and sand on her knees. Tomorrow, Olivia said. And every day after. And somewhere deep inside her, a voice she'd buried long ago whispered something new. You're not failing. You're healing. Together. And for the first time in a long time, that was more than enough.